Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win or you find a way to lose. What are your opinions on Crawford, Okolie, and Buats? I personally think Crawford, Okolie, and Buats, I think they're all alone. All three of them left their promoters and decided to do something differently because they felt there were better opportunities out there for them. Now, for Okolie and Buats, they ended up signing with a promotional faction out there in the UK called Boxer to have their fight shown exclusively on Sky Sports, right? But when I look at their situations, and I see what's going on with Eddie Hearn and Matchroom, because they were working with Eddie Hearn, it really makes me wonder how they're feeling right now, seeing all the activity in Saudi Arabia, all the money being thrown at fighters, and the fact that Turki Al-Sheikh, he wants Eddie Hearn and Frank Warren to put together a 5 versus 5 style tournament to take place in one night. And let me tell you something. Okolie's a cruiserweight, Buatsi's light heavy. I believe Buatsi light heavy. Let me check. Make sure I'm telling y'all the right thing, man. I know for a fact Okolie is cruiserweight, but let me point something out here, because it is crazy what's going on. So let me see. Buatsi's light heavyweight, Okolie's cruiserweight. I could see if they were still with Eddie Hearn, and of course, they still had the profiles that they had when they were with him. I could see him having one of them having Buats fighting as a light heavy guy, and Okolie fighting as a cruiserweight guy. For these guys to get life-changing money. Don't get me wrong, from where they came from to where they are now, they're just fine. Like a Deontay Wilder type story. Not as much money as Wilder, but more money than what they had. Don King story. But going forward, I just feel like you got to be kicking yourself in the butt a little bit, because obviously there were some kind of contractual disputes between them and purse bids and Matchroom and Ben Shalom getting involved and Boxer getting involved. Bottom line is, it looks like it was a paper chase for Buatsi, for Okolie. Promised more money, bit more activity, but the bottom line is they had a knee-jerk reaction and they decided to do what they did. Now you look at what's going on. I just feel like these guys I feel like they're a bit all alone right now, because they can't come now because they signed multi-fight deals over a few years. So they can't just break lock with what they're doing over there on Boxer and come get involved with Saudi unless, their promoter is invited to the party. And right now, it looks like it's a top-ranked thing, nothing but a G thing, baby. A top-ranked thing, a top-ranked thing, a Matchroom thing, and a Queensberry thing. I want to make sure people understand this. Even when Deontay Wilder came over there, Deontay Wilder is not on PBC anymore. Deontay Wilder is his own man. He can float around and do what he wants. So it's an interesting dynamic. Very interesting. Now, Frank Sanchez didn't end up coming over there too, but makes you wonder how everything is working over there with PBC and why there aren't more fighters. But bottom line is, when you look at Buats and you look at Okolie, I can't help but wonder if they feel like, man, you know what? I wish I was still over there with Eddie Hearn. Because Eddie Hearn didn't treat them bad, is my understanding. I just think they felt like there was better opportunities elsewhere. And, it can be like that. It can be like that, especially out there and you're working in the civilian sector and you just don't feel appreciated at your job. I had a friend make a move like that, and they go and they cross the street. And, you just don't know what the future holds, but it feels good at the moment. Grass is green on the other side, but you gotta maintain that lawn. It requires certain maintenance, and then you see after a period of time, like, you know what, this isn't what I thought it was going to be. And I think Okolie and Buats could be feeling that. Like, damn, that could have been me over there fighting in Saudi. But you come full circle to Terence Crawford. Terence Crawford, I think his situation may have been a little bit worse. Now, I can only get information from what I read on the internet about Okolie and Buats. It doesn't sound like there was anything bad, nefarious, malicious happening to him. So it just seemed like it was a decision they felt it was best for them. I did see some stuff out there. Okolie said some things that Eddie Hearn didn't like. Eddie Hearn thought about was looking to sue him about his character and stuff. So, I hate to hear about things coming up as far as race and stuff like that. I really don't like reading about those things. It gets under my skin. But with Terence Crawford, his situation I think was worse. I do. Crawford has been the man for a long time, and he just couldn't get the fights that he wanted. Then you have a promoter who's coming out talking about how he's hemorrhaging money and could have had a house in Calabasas with that amount of money that he has lost on Terence Crawford. And when I hear a guy like that say those things, man, when I hear a guy like that talk like that about his fighter or his subordinate, man, it gets under my skin. So I look at what Terence Crawford had happening to him over there in Top Rank. To be honest with you, you can't blame him for leaving. A promoter doesn't want to promote you, doesn't want to speak positively about you. Your promoter wouldn't give you the biggest fight of your career with what would have been Manny Pacquiao. Wasn't able to land you an Earl Spence fight, and didn't want to pay you the kind of money you deserved. But he goes over to PBC now. He gets the big fight. But then now what? He's all alone in a holding pattern. So I do believe he should have stayed right where he should have made that move from Top Rank. I do believe that. He should have made that move. At the same time, hold on one second. But at the same time, I do believe that the promoter won't get behind him. The promoter won't give him, don't want to give him the money. The promoter's saying a bunch of negative things about him. That's across the board. When it comes to Terence Crawford, he had to get out of there. But when you sit back now and see this rematch with Earl Spence has gone up in flames, you really don't know. Terence Crawford sounds like he wants big money fights, but he can't get the names he wants. But I am sure Crawford would fight anybody for the right money. And I don't think for 1 second Crawford feels like, I should have stayed with Top Rank. I don't think he feels that way. But I do feel that he probably feels a bit alone right now. Because nobody's really looking out for him. But this is what comes with the territory when you choose to be independent and you don't have the machine behind you. And I think he understands that. But at the same time, I think he's cool. He's like, shit, what does it matter? My family is good for generations to come. And I still think Crawford can get over to Saudi. I still think he can go over there and get big fights. He is in a unique situation because he's his own man. The problem is to just go out and think he's going to have a one-off. I don't think the Saudis are going to want that. Most of these guys are getting signed into 2-fight deals. So with Crawford, it had to be 2 fights. He had to sign up to fight someone. At first, the person has to agree to fight him. And then there had to be something lined up for a second fight. But again, I can't help but feel that Crawford, Okolie, Buats, even though their lives seem to be good, when they sit back and they're kind of watching what's going on, can't help but feel a little bit alone. I even saw Ray Vargas is fighting on the undercard. But again, you see these Top Rank guys, Queensberry guys, Matchroom guys, they're all out there getting busy. But I'm going to tell you this right now. Whatever Turkey Al-Sheikh wants, that's what he gets. And he understands. When it comes to money, they have endless money. So whatever he wants, he will get. And I would like to hope that he would want to have a guy like Crawford fight over there. Okolie, he lost. Doesn't mean that, it still won't be good to have him out there, but his style isn't the most exciting. Buats, he's still out here, undefeated and getting busy, man. He's a big name, a big draw out there in the UK. Okolie is too, but I just think, I don't know how these guys can put themselves on Turki Al-Ashik's radar, because from what I'm seeing, none of their names are really in the headlines with anything big coming up. They all kind of just sitting in a holding pattern, and I'm sure they would love to get out there and be able to fight in the UK, in Saudi, have been part of Riyadh season. But at the same time, maybe they had opportunities and turned them down. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't know. I'm just having a conversation. But I do think when you sit back and look at it, it's just you just never know what the future holds, man. You know what I'm saying? You just never know. Like, I'm going to this job fair on the 24th of January because I've decided to return to work. You know what I'm saying? And it took me about 5 years to reach that point, but my youngest is a big boy now. But there are a lot of people who are like, man, you should be doing this and that. It's like, my man, I don't need to do anything just like these guys. But now I'm a little motivated to go, and it's like, let me just try something and we'll see how I feel. But if I feel like it's a forced situation, I'm not doing nothing. Life is good. I don't have nothing to worry about. But at the same time, it goes back to what I was saying. You just don't know what the future holds, man. You got to be comfortable with your decisions. And I'm comfortable with every decision that I've made, man. 100%. I feel good. But I also feel like, there may be some opportunities out there. So let me go see. But it's got to be the right situation. And that's what I think happened with Okolie and Buats. Hey, they're all alone now. When they look at what's going on in Saudi, they're like, you know what? I felt like a matchroom wasn't the perfect situation for me. I feel comfortable now. But if things aren't working out for them over there, they're probably like, you know what? Grass wasn't as green on the other side like I thought. And maybe they would like to come back over there. Eddie Hearn's about his money. So he would entertain a conversation. He's a businessman. But I just hope for these three guys, things can work out for them. You know what I'm saying? And and they can get an opportunity for some big money for all three, but especially Terrence Crawford, because Crawford doesn't seem like he has much interest left in fighting outside of maybe 2-3 fights, big money fights. And I just don't think Crawford's going to get it in the States. I don't think he's going to get it being attached to Al Haymon right now. Al Haymon has changed fighters' lives, but with what Crawford wants, I'm not so sure that he's going to get it. I'm not saying Al Haymon couldn't do it. I just don't think at this point in time there's something with the change in dynamics with PBC and Showtime to Amazon. I'm just not so sure it's something that can happen immediately. But we know right now what can happen for a guy like Crawford. If he chooses to, is to head on out there to the sandbox and try to make some things happen for himself. That being said, y'all keep cool. Crawford, Okolie, and Buats, they looking all alone right now to me. But at the end of the day, to them, they all may be quite comfortable in their skin with the decisions they've made, and they could probably care less about what's going on over there with all that money. Who knows? In the breeze.